Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. In this post, we're going to decode Babe Ruth, the famous baseball player, considered one of the greatest home run hitters, players, period, of all time. He played all fields, he pitched, he hit home runs. He was considered a baseball god, essentially. And even as a little boy who was born in 1983, talking about myself, even growing up in 1983, I thought of Babe Ruth as this legend, even though he died long before I was born. But anyway, Truth Seeker, I'm going to decode this to you. I'm going to show you how sports have always been scripted by the numbers, and Babe Ruth is the man he is because of his name gematria and perhaps the coincidence of his life. But let's check this out, Truth Seeker. Notice on September 30th, 1927, Babe Ruth became the record home run. He set a new record with 60 home runs that stood for 34 years. Would you believe that the word 60 has a gematria of 34, Truth Seeker? We're going to talk about all that and more, but we're going to just start right here by decoding the date that he set the home run record. So the date was September 30th. Notice 9-3 next to each other. I talk about how in New York everything's coded 3993, and we'll see just how relevant this number is to Babe Ruth as we go through. The numerology of this date connects to 85, which is the number of years of the curse of the Bambino in Boston as it lasted, from the time they traded Babe Ruth until they won a World Series. The date he hit this record-setting home run has the numerology of the length of the curse. Possibly a coincidence, possibly not. If you watch my videos, I often use the word matrix to describe what's going on within sports. They're having to operate within this matrix of purposeful numerology. That's why we get these routine scores, this routine scripting. And some people ask if it's spiritual or if it's organized. I honestly think, Truth Seeker, it is a combination of both. And the best way I can explain that is to anyone who watched this past year's Super Bowl. You might recall there was a miracle catch just before the last interception. And if you look up the length of that gain, it was truly a 33-yard gain. Now, 33 is a number scripted into sports a lot. In Major League Baseball, the All-Star game began in 33, for example. In National Football League, they split into two conferences for the first time in 33, and that's interesting because that brings up duality, which the Freemasons, the Scottish Rite Freemasons, have a highest degree of 33, and they believe conquering through dividing. But anyway, all this stuff is occurring within this matrix of purposeful numbers that are organized by a gang of people. After the 33-yard catch, the game ended on a spectacular display of 21s. It was Russell Wilson's 21st pass, intercepted by number 21 with 21 seconds left in the game on February 1st, 2/1, with the down 2nd and 1. And making matters worse, it was Russell Wilson and the Seahawks' first time all season, not all playoffs, not all game, all season, that they threw the ball on the 1 yard line. It was the first time all season that number 21 on defense played on the goal line. And we're talking about the Super Bowl with the game on the line, with timeouts left, with the league's hardest hitting rushing back. Did I just say that wrong? Running back. Marshawn Lynch. Anyway, sports are scripted, Truth Seeker. All the big games are scripted. Let's just go through this. Let's just look at all this madness. The numerology of this date, digit for digit, has a numerology of 31, like the foundational degree of Scottish Rite Freemasonry runs 31, 32, 33. Sum it together, it sums to 96, like the word Freemason. This date also has a numerology of 66, important in baseball and to New York, where the home run was hit. New York's the 11th state. If you sum 1 through 11, it sums to 66. World Series also has a gematria of 66. This past year, the Giants won their World Series 66 days after their worst earthquake since the '89 World Series. Also, notice how this date, September 30th, has a 9-3 pairing. Also, if you add 9 plus 30, it sums to 39. These numbers are going to come up a lot with Babe Ruth in New York. I also want to point out that the word conspiracy, we're talking about the 60th home run he hit on this date. Sorry, I get tangential. The 60th home run he hit. The word conspiracy has a Pythagorean gematria of 51, like Area 51, S exception 60, and simple English of 123, like the number of record-setting points LeBron James has scored in the first 3 games. 44, 39, 40. I've done videos on why those are all significant. The 60 home run record would be beat in the 61 season Truth Seeker with 61 home runs in the 61 season. A span of 34 years, as the article mentions, 34 years. The word 60 has a gematria of 34, Truth Seeker. 34 was 60. See how bad it is? It should also be noted that the 60s are the only decade with 33 gematria. Also, with S exceptions, 51. Like conspiracy again. He was born in Baltimore, Maryland. Maryland has that slight connection to 34. Baltimore, Maryland, and Simple English Gematria has some interesting numbers. A lot going on right now in our nation's history in Baltimore, Maryland. The big outbreak started there in front of Camden Yards, where the Orioles play. So check it out. Babe Ruth, True Seeker, was born George Herman Ruth on February 6th. That's the 37th day of the year. 37 is huge right now in our nation's history. Remember, American, the word equals 37. American Pharaoh just became the first Triple Crown winner in 37 years. The jockey was wearing these wheels up pants. Check this out, True Seeker. I didn't get this in my video, so this is a bonus for you watching. I forgot to mention this in the video. He was wearing these pants that say wheels up, right? Look at the gematria of wheels up. 37, just like American, just like the span, just like how rigged all this stuff is that just makes me want to vomit. God, we got to wake up. I'll tell you in the end why they did this with Babe Ruth. I get it. I get it. So anyway, he's born February 6th, the 37th day of the year. The word Zachary also has a gematria of 37. Like I said, the Hebrew alphabet is based on the numbers 37 and 73. 37 is also a very important number, even though I don't talk about it that much. And with regards to New York, the Freemasons like triplets. If you multiply 37 times 3, it sums to 111. New York in simple English gematria sums to 111. And in English gematria, sums to 666. He was born in February, the only month with gematria of 42 and 96. Freemason also is just like February. Notice here the gematria of Freemason, 4296, February 4296. Also Black History Month. The number 42 is coded all over black people. This has all been done by Freemasons with a sick sense of humor. With regards to February 6th, it's 2/6, like the God number. Yankees also has that gematria of 26. Yankees are the most winningest team in Major League history. They have 27 World Series titles, 40 appearances. MLB has a simple English gematria of 27. Like I said in the beginning, everything in New York is 39 or 93. His name was George Herman Ruth, which in Pythagorean gematria sums to 93. Notice that George has a Pythagorean gematria of 39. George Herman Ruth. New York, the abbreviation's 39. New York in Pythagorean gematria is 39. The establishment date, July 26, 1788, is 39. There's 39 floors at the United Nations in New York. 39 signers on the Declaration of Independence. The word empire has a gematria of 39. New York is the Empire State. The New York Times sums to 93. The New York Times makes articles that go out to the whole nation saying that conspiracy theorists suffer from mental illness. This is how the nation is ruled, by these tyrants who create perception, who create all the distractions, who've built a world, a matrix around us to live within. And when you step outside of the bounds of their matrix, you are ridiculed. Just look up New York Times and conspiracy theorists. They will say how it's mental illness. One World Trade Center sums to 93. By the way, True Seeker, the word propaganda sums to 93. Take that, the New York Times. Propaganda in simple English gematria sums to 93, True Seeker. Anyway, the new building, One World Trade Center, sums to 93 in place of the Twin Towers that fell on September 11th. They were bombed in the 93 World Trade Center bombing. On the date of the attack, September 11th, it was flight 93 of 33 passengers. First plane hit floors 93 through 99. I might have just missaid this, True Seeker. Flight 93 of 33 passengers crashed in Pennsylvania, the Keystone State. Keystone has that gematria of 33. There's way more 93 in New York sports history. The greatest goaltender of all time for the Rangers played in 93 games. This season, I picked up on a major 39-93 pattern for the Rangers. I thought it might mean they were going to the Stanley Cup. Obviously, they lost in Game 7, but they had a very memorable series before that, coming back 3-0, so still a very important season for them. Right now, the Blackhawks, Chicago's in the Stanley Cup. Patrick Kane sums to 46, just like Chicago. That's their star player. As for the nickname Babe Ruth, it has a Pythagorean gematria of 32, just like America, and he was a star for America. I call 32 the American number. And think about America. Think about present-day America. How many Americans are overweight, spectators of sports, sitting on their ass, wasting their life, saying they don't have time to do anything, they don't have time to pay attention to anything that's real, but they got all the fucking time in the world to watch sports games. You know? This is the world I know. This is why I'm so frustrated. People telling me they don't have time, but they got all the time in the world to go watch these rigged fucking sports games that are so infuriating to watch. I don't know how any fan puts up with it. But it's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to piss off the fan. Think about most of these sports leagues. They have 30 plus teams. By the end of the season, there's usually one happy set of fans and a whole bunch of disgruntled fans. It's a torture we put ourselves through. And it's rigged, and it steals money and time from us. That's what it's all about. And it distracts us from the things we could be doing, like paying attention to how bad we're getting fucked in the ass. So that's why they sold us the vision of a fat dude who could slug the shit out of the ball. And I know from my own experience that fat dudes can play baseball. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying fat dudes can't ball, because I've seen it with my own eyes. I've even seen fat dudes that can move well around a diamond. It's amazing. So Babe Ruth, real star. But I know why they sold this image. And his star was probably hyped up with some very much rigging around it. Babe Ruth in simple English gematria sums to 77, like Judaism, like the American meridian. We were talking about September 11th a second ago. On September 11th, Flight 77 hit the Pentagon that is 77 feet tall and on the 77th meridian known as the American meridian. Think about how Judaism equals 77. Then go grab your $1 bill and look at how many Star of Davids are hidden on it and realize that design predates Israel. Do the math. This country's been owned since the beginning. Babe Ruth might have been given his name, George Herman Ruth, if it wasn't his real name, for its gematria, while he was attending this Catholic school as a boy. Who knows? Maybe his whole identity was remade here. He was there from 7 to 19. That means his parents got rid of him, Truth Seeker. At St. Mary's Industrial School. Notice the gematria of 98, a number of great significance in the recent Philadelphia train crash where the train was heading to New York. Babe Ruth's first World Series was against the Phillies, Philadelphia. Also, that gematria of 116, Truth Seeker, like 911 upside down. I bring this news to you on Thursday, June 11th. Thursday has a gematria of 116, just like country. Just like today's date in some parts of the world, 11/6 for June 11th, day before month. There's a lot of interesting things here. I don't want to bore you to death. One of his other nicknames was the Sultan of Swat, which has a gematria of 51 Pythagorean, like conspiracy. 69 with the S exceptions, another number of significance. In his record-setting season, True Seeker, he hit 16 in September, the month to close out the year to get the record, meaning he had 44 heading into it. Notice that 16 and 90 are the only two words with gematria of 33, 42 with the S exception. These trademarks, these tributes, they're all over. And to me, that shows you it was all rigged. The final home run was hit off a pitcher named Tom Zachary, excuse me. Tom Zachary gave up the record setter, number 60. The gematria of Tom Zachary is 51, like Pythagorean gematria conspiracy. And what makes me laugh about this, Truth Seeker, is when I was a little boy, my dad loved baseball, and he made me a baseball machine. Pretty much all I did as a kid was did my schoolwork and practiced baseball and other sports, but baseball the most. And anyway, I was a really good pitcher when I was younger, and the only time I ever gave up a home run, and I can still hear my dad screaming at me through the fence for giving it up, was against this huge fat kid who could really swing a bat named Fred. Fred crushed the shit out of the ball. I remember it like it was yesterday. He was my version of Babe Ruth. Just makes me laugh thinking back. Plus, this pitcher's name was Zachary as well. What do you know? But anyway, to remember to go back to the beginning, the date he hit his record-setting home run had this numerology of 85. Babe Ruth between Boston and New York is remembered for the trade that brought on the Curse of the Bambino, which lasted 85 years. Curse of the Bambino has gematria of 92, which breaks down to 11. Think about 11 in New York. We talked about it, the 11th state. September 11th, Twin Towers, giant 11s in the New York skyline. Another number of significance in New York. I just did a video earlier today on the death of Christopher Lee, and I talked about how when celebrities die, so often their birthday has something to do with their death day. Babe Ruth died August 16th, 1948, a date with 37 numerology. Remember, he was born on the 37th day, February 6th. This pattern is so tremendous. That's why I bring it up, and then here's another example. With regards to Babe Ruth's home run record, it was broken 39 years later. Remember how we said 39 in New York are so important? Broken 39 years later, April 8th, 1974. April 8th is also the 98th day of the year. We're talking about how his school that he went to had 98. But look at the date he broke it on, Truth Seeker. April 8th, 1974, this method sums to 105. When I think 105, I think of the Titanic and the assassination of Lincoln. Why? Because April 15th is the 105th day of the year. It's the day Titanic fully submerged. That's the date Lincoln died. And with regards to the Titanic, it was written about in 1898, 14 years before it happened, in a book called Futility, Wreck of the Titan, where the world's largest ship sinks on an iceberg heading from the UK to the United States. The difference between Titan and Titanic are the letters I and C. I is the 9th letter. C is the 3rd. Add on a 9-3 onto Titanic. Now you have a real made-for-the-world gigantic lie. You know what I mean? I just bring up the example to show you how often this has happened to us as a society, from sports to popular culture. I mean, think about the Titanic. That's another story that we're told a lot about as kids. Babe Ruth, the Titanic, that's what we get hit with. Anyway, that date, April 8th, 1974, that Hank Aaron broke his record after 39 years, has a numerology of 33, like the word diamond, number of significance in baseball as well. Baseball's based on cricket. Cricket sums to 33, so 33 in baseball, it's there. Also, this date has a numerology of 86, like symbol, triangle, pyramid. The All-Star began in 1933, Truth Seeker. Babe Ruth was an All-Star, of course. 7 times World Series champion. 12 times home run champion. So think about this, Truth Seeker. With regards to him being traded from Boston to New York and the Curse of the Bambino setting in, Boston won their last World Series with him on the team September 11th, 1918. A date with numerology of 57. I bring that up because George has numerology of 57. His name is George Herman Ruth, remember? King George. King George sums to 98, Truth Seeker. That 98 connection again. But look at this. They won the series 4-2. Boston over Chicago Cubs over the CC. NYC, the abbreviation, sums to 42. Remember, NY is 39 plus 3 more, 42. They won the series 4-2. This makes me think about Tom Brady in the modern day age. He became the most all-time startingest quarterback in Super Bowls with 6 starts, and he's got a career record of 4-2 in Super Bowls, with his only 2 losses coming against the New York City Giants. 4-2. Tom Brady is a living hoax, which I've seen this entire time, and I don't know how anybody else hasn't. He emerged out of nowhere after the September 11th in the Patriot era. Think about Patriot Act, all this hoorah shit that was going on in this country. Tom Brady comes out of nowhere. The Patriots start winning. Super Bowl darling on a hoax Super Bowl tuck rule. It's all been a big joke. Probably like how Babe Ruth was somewhat of a joke once upon a time. The pitcher who won the last game, or who won that World Series, Carl Mays, gematria of 39. That's interesting. So that's pretty much it, Truth Seeker. If you've never seen any of my posts before and you stumbled in here and you're still watching, here's one more gem I'll give you. Major League Baseball season's 162 games. I used to ask once upon a time why there's 162 games in the season. Well, look at Major League Baseball in simple English gematria using the alphabetic order. 162. The end in Jewish gematria equals 162, and of course Jews run Major League Baseball. MLB, the acronym, breaks down to 9, like the number of innings in a baseball game. Major League Baseball, 1 plus 6 plus 2 also sums to 9. 9, very important in baseball. MLB, in simple English gematria, sums to 27. Just like baseball sums to 27, the Yankees lead World Series, again, with 27 World Series wins. So look at how important 27 is to baseball. And of course, Babe Ruth is very much connected to the Yankees. So there it is, Truth Seeker. Sports by the numbers. It was then as it is now. And pretty soon we'll be witnessing A-Rod hitting his 666th home run. I'll sign off at 6:03. Think about how that connects. Until next time, Truth Seeker.